Welcome everyone to VR Jungle, a Havoc podcast. We're a day early. Screw Mondays. Let's do it on a Sunday, the day of rest, and let's have some fun. We have obviously over there my lovely co-host. He's over there. Let's look the right way. Naked Avatar, Pickle Ostrich, and then we have a very interesting feller today that we're gonna pick. Pickle's probably gonna pick his brain more than I'll pick his brain, but I'm definitely intrigued as well. It is DrBiBop. He is a VR modder. He takes games, he mods them, and as a person that doesn't play PC VR, and I want to get into it, DrBiBop, what is even VR modding to even start with this podcast?
Hello. Well, I'm glad to be here first. And second, so I'm a VR modder. And what that means is I turn flat screen games on your PC and I mod them so that they work in VR with full head tracking and sometimes even motion controls. There are a lot of other modders like me in our community, and just doing this is our passion. We love it so much. We love VR, so that's why we turn our favorite games into VR.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So do you just pick a game, or does like your Discord pick a game and then you tackle it, or is it just basically all on your interest?
I mean, it depends on the person. For me, it's really I really choose games that first I'm interested in, and second one that can be quite easily be turned into VR because there are some games that have a lot of challenges to be turned into VR. Let's say, the engine does not support it, or maybe it's a multiplayer competitive game, so maybe the developers will not allow that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for me, it's really my interest and how well it will work in VR.
Yeah, for
There,
sure.
there, there are a lot of community requests that we sometimes take if we're interested in it.
Yeah, and just things that I'm trying to pick your brain with. Like, do you ever run into like any legal issues when it comes to modding a game, or you have to find a game that's old enough to not have like a copyright on it? Like, how does that work out?
Well, it hasn't happened to me, and I haven't heard any stories of that happening to
Mm-hmm.
anybody. But you know, s- some developers do not like having their game modded,
Yeah.
and that will prevent us from running it completely because we do not want to have any legal trouble with developers because we support their work.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely
So
understand that.
yeah, yeah. So I haven't heard any stories of that happening, but yeah, usually developers are not too opposed to modding,
Mm-hmm.
and having their game turn into VR, like it can bring a lot of new customers.
Oh yeah,
So
for
I, I,
sure.
I can't I can't really talk with them, but I guess it could happen, and
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't happened to me yet.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see what you mean. How why would they turn down a modder bringing like say they're getting ready to make a third game of a second, a trilogy from the sequel, and it's just like that's gonna spark interest for people to buy, it, even if it's not modded yet. At least buy it for a pancake version game, for that. But like when you're modding and stuff, have you ever just like sat there and just be like, why am I not just developing my own game? Or is it like, do you just solely prefer doing this over just making your own game or helping some other VR people produce a new game?
Well, I mean, I would like to make my own game. I guess that would be one of my plans for the future.
Yeah.
But I guess for now, it's just because I don't really have any new creative ideas, and you know, having a full game already made for you, all
Mm-hmm.
you have to do is make the VR side of things.
Yeah.
Well, it's easier, and there's less risk with if you're working so much for your game and it's not really doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why were you doing this?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, yeah, it still requires a lot of work to mod a game, but there's less risk. It's more like of a passion project of a game you like. Because there's also your personal interest. You want to see your favorite game turn into VR, so you want to do it yourself.
hmm One thing, so like for you, I think don't you mainly work on Risk of Rain 2, correct? I don't think you
Yeah.
have any other VR mods at least right now.
Well, there's one in the works,
Oh,
but
really?
right now I haven't released any others. The Risk of Rain one was my first VR mod.
hmm
If you're
Oh, so
curious
you're
about the other one, if you want to know it, it's Raft. It's a lesser
right.
known game. It's a
Mm-hmm.
survival game where you can build your own raft and you
Okay.
survive.
Yeah, I know what it is.
And it could be maybe a bit motion sick with all the waves and stuff, but I think we
Yeah.
can work something out. So I've started on it, but there are some challenges that I need to overcome for it to really release it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's gonna come in the future. It's in the back burner for now.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah, I think Raft is like that. It's kind of more I guess cartoonish art style, and you're like I'm not too familiar with it though. Besides that, what's the gameplay in that game? Is it survival? Is it
He said
like
survival. So it's like
Yeah, it's
Island or
survival.
Ark or like anything. There's a game called The Island on PlayStation released not too long ago. That it was literally you get on an island, you just try and survive as long as possible. Stuff like that.
okay?
Yeah. There's a lot of exploration. With your raft, you can visit tons of islands and find some landmarks. And with your resources, you can build like a huge raft
Oh,
with a lot of
really?
lot of structures.
That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
that's insane. Like
Yeah,
it's kind of like Valheim or Minecraft, where you can do
Mm-hmm.
some insane constructions.
that's pretty
Okay,
cool. That's
gotcha.
so the games that you're finding right now, are they like Risk of Rain. Like I've never heard of that series. Is it just PC? I know Pickles heard of it and he was pretty interested.
It's on PC and consoles,
Is it at
and
consoles?
yeah, it's on
Yeah.
consoles too. It's a roguelike game with waves of enemies. You find items in chests. You try to get as far as possible in levels and find the final boss. Once you die, you lose everything. The basics of roguelike. But like it's such an addicting game. And the transition from the first game, which was a pixel art 2D game, into a 3D game, is insane.
Yeah, because I was looking it
That's
up
true.
before this, and it looked pretty beautiful. Like at least for Risk of Rain 2, it looked
Mm-hmm.
like almost like an open world MMR like RPG type style type thing. Almost like it looked like Terra, if you've ever heard of that game.
Yeah.
It kind of had that type of feeling to it. But so you basically go through levels, and if you die, no matter how far you get, you start back at the very beginning. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. You can unlock new characters and abilities, but you lose pretty much everything.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
And you
crazy.
can also unlock some items too that will like could either, help you out a bit, or sometimes the items aren't that helpful. Like there's an item called the squid polyp, which it's not very good. Whenever you interact with something, it's like this turret that just kind of dies over time.
A
But
turd?
A turret.
no turret.
Oh, a turret. Okay. Yeah. Um, so this game, is there any end to it then? Is there like a final, like eventually you can beat it if you level up?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a final boss if you reach like every 5 stage you have the option to go to the final boss with what you have now if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you can loop the stages and get even more items, level up even more to have a better chance to beat the boss. It's really fun. You can
Yeah.
even raise the difficulty. There's tons of other mods, new characters, new items, tons of stuff that you can do in Risk of Rain 2. It's insane.
Yeah. It sounds like a
Yeah,
lot of
there's
people are gonna speed run this.
oh there's been a couple speedruns. There's a character called Loader who has this grappling hook that's really fun, and it's super fun in the VR mod. You just go flying around with Loader.
Yeah, it's a good test to see if you have motion sickness or not.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Man, I haven't experienced motion sickness in a hot minute, and I played some crazy games. But I finally just was bored out of my mind because there's nothing really going on in VR right now. So I was like, you know what, I'll try Vox Machina, and not for me. Just couldn't do it. I don't know what it was. It was like it. First of all, the game didn't really explain if you had to be standing or seating because it asked me if I was like my height. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start playing this standing, even though my character's seating. And then I sit down. And I get to this area, my fucking character's standing up. I'm like, why are you standing now? Like I don't understand if I'm be standing or sitting. And so I'm like, I'm getting really motion sickness. So I'm gonna do one mission sitting down. And I was like sitting there moving this thing and I'm just like, I just can't do it. Like, it's just making me want to throw up right now. So, Yeah, motion sickness is a weird thing. I guarantee you run into it all the time when it comes to like finding a game, like you're saying with the tides. Like, is there any way to like control that? Like, you just gonna have to deal with it?
Well, I can't really speak from my experience because I don't remember the last time I got motion sick.
Uh huh.
Wow.
But usually people tell you to once you start getting motion sick, you should stop now and come back later.
Mhm.
Like you can maybe start with games that give you just a little bit of motion sickness and practice with this before going to the big guns and not being able to progress at all. So I can't really speak from my experience, but there's a lot of tips online that you can find. There's also a disadvantage of not getting motion sickness though when you're a developer, because you
Hmm.
don't really see what would make people motion sick. So when you're developing and you're doing something like when I was working on Loader, for example. I mean, granted, I can't really change how she works too much because it's
No.
the original game, but
Yeah.
I don't get motion sick, so I won't notice if it will make other people motion sick. So that's really a challenge as a developer. What you need to do to prevent that motion sickness and what you're doing doesn't actually work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We're also. I better keep notice this chat as well. Someone kept on popping up. I'm like, what the heck is that? Made me lose like whole distraction for a second. He said left a okay. So sorry for that distraction. I was super confused for a second. I'm like, what is that popping up? But yeah,
Hmm.
but with waves, like, do you think that people could actually experience real seasickness?
Oh,
I mean, with with the movement of the raft, for example, and with the waves, people could, I guess. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I would know for sure because I don't get that sickness. But
hmm.
there are even playing flat screen, people are getting some sort of seasickness. I've heard from the game.
Really?
Yeah, it's strange.
So so I think the very first time there's certain games still in flat games that if I jump off something, I get like major butterflies in my stomach, and I get that like when I'm jumping up from high buildings like Population One. But when they made that one battle royale game, they just released a mobile game. The really one that you slide around, you shoot pretty fast. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Is it
Um,
Wait,
Apex?
you talk. Oh
Apex
yeah,
Legends.
Apex.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
time, because Apex Legends doesn't have any fall damage, so you can fall from anything. And I remember the first time that I jumped off of a thing, Apex Legends, and my character's looking down. I'm just like, ah! I'm just like, holy cow, that is in my gut. Yeah, and I had to get used to that for a while because I'm just like, geez. So,
Yeah.
man, I'm surprised. So you don't feel any of that, huh?
Nope, not at all.
That's
Uh,
pretty interesting.
yeah, I feel pretty lucky.
I
It,
think.
it,
Oh, sorry.
it
I
would probably
think.
take away a bit, so stuff from enjoying the game if you have that sort of high problem or sickness. I think it would probably take away. But like not having that, it's so much enjoyable. Go ahead, by the way.
Oh yeah. So I was just saying that I think that like a lot of I think there a lot of people kind of assume the risks of playing flat to VR games too with motion sickness to an extent. Obviously, you don't want to make them sick, but I do think that a lot of people notice the implied risks of you know
Yeah,
getting
it's pretty
sick.
normal since the game wasn't designed for VR, so there are a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that wasn't wasn't really made to prevent motion sickness. When you turn it into VR, they are there's bound to be some problems.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think the only thing that makes me motion sickness is when the game is lacking on its frames. I can really
Yeah.
tell when the frames are really low, and that's what I noticed with Vox Machina. Is that so? The game that um, Pickle got me into, the other mech game, which one was it, Pickle?
Iron Rebellion.
Iron Rebellion. So say the same thing, same mechanics. You're sitting in a chair, you're moving your thing back and forth. You're not moving in real space, right? You're basing your joystick, and it's still got that kind of movement in front of your eyes. But since that game had better graphics than Vox Machina, I didn't get motion sickness from that game at all.
Yeah.
And it's kind of dumb because that game was free and Vox Machina is $30, and I'm just like,
No, Iron Rebellion's
yeah,
$15.
still, so half the price and no motion sickness. I'll take that any day.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think we should move on from motion sickness and ask, how'd you get into modding, Dr. Bebop? What inspired you to pursue that and try these projects?
Well, I was always interested in coding, and
Mm-hmm.
I love video games. So I've done, my college classes in computer science, and once I've done that, um, since I love Risk of Rain, I found out there was a modding community for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried it a bit. I got a bit confused at first, and I kind of abandoned it. But just later on, like a few months later, just out of curiosity, I searched on Google Risk of Into VR, like if perchance someone was working on something like that. I was sure that I wouldn't find anything, of course not.
Mm-hmm.
But then I see a video preview from Elliot Tate from the Flat Screen to VR Discord, who was experimenting with a tool to enable VR in any Unity game.
Mm-hmm.
And he first tested that on Risk of Rain. And so I saw that demo. He was just moving his head around with the third-person camera. And when he was shooting, he wouldn't follow the crosshair at all. It would just shoot in front of the character.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried it out of curiosity, but I was very impressed with the VR and seeing that it was possible, which
Mm-hmm.
is just insane. So I was kind of unsatisfied with the rest though, because you can't really play well with this because the UI doesn't show up in the headset and the character is not aiming towards your crosshair or with a head, and you were
Mm-hmm.
forced to use a controller or your keyboard. So with the little bit of risk of rain experience that I gathered, I joined your Discord and I offered to help developing it,
Mm-hmm.
starting with making the aiming work. So that's where it started.
Yeah, okay. That's really cool. I didn't realize that they were like kind of prototypes and you're like, "Oh man, this is sweet," messing around and
But did you have any
um,
interest in VR before you even started VR modding, or like, do you play VR games now?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I started VR from my brother when he bought a headset. I got so interested in it, so when he moved out, I bought one for myself,
mhm,
and I had so much fun with VR games. I just felt that it was like the future of gaming,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
yeah.
It just the immersion, the feeling of interacting with things with your hands. So yeah, of course, I was interested in VR before modding. Now that I do VR modding, it's a combination of the two. It's perfect.
Yeah, for
Mhm,
sure. That's what I was wondering. Like, I meet a lot of people that make VR games, and they come from flat screens, And there's like, we can make a VR game, and they do so horrible because they still like, especially the older people that been making like say early 2000 flat screen games, where their model is just sell a game and then never touch it again. Well, that's not how the world turns anymore, and they'll try and release a game and not touch it anymore, and then people are just like, we're just not gonna play this because there's no updates, there's no character, there's nothing new. So what's the point? What's the replayability of this? So that's pretty cool that you started in the VR world, and then now you're helping advance the VR, especially like getting the credibility to where people may have never even known of Risk of Rain, like me. I've never heard of it, and so it's like me, who is an advocate VR player, would definitely, if I saw that, like, yeah, what's Risk of Rain? Oh, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be looking for other ones, especially on the flat screen game. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've
mhm.
seen I've seen a lot of people buying the game specifically for VR, which is like making me blush seeing that it's so like amazing to see all these
Mhm.
people coming in for the mod.
That's actually me. I bought the mod because I saw Beardo Benjo, or I bought the game because I saw Beardo Benjo his video on the mod, and I was like, whoa, just seeing like him looking at the scale of the world and like all the items is really cool.
That's true. This channel is very surprising. Like some people even like complain in the Discord saying like, why am I too small? And
Hmm.
every time I just tell them the
That's the
actual
game.
scale of Risk of Rain 2.
Yeah.
Unless you're like going through the floor or something, that's the actual scale.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, no,
When you're
it's
third person, it's hard to see like the scale of beetles, but when you
hmm
actually play, you'll notice that Lemurians and beetles are actually as tall as Commando.
yeah.
That's what you see in VR too.
hmm Yeah, it's pretty interesting playing from the VR and the flat version, you know. I originally like I got it for the VR and I was a little confused because I never played the game before. And so I went to the flat version and then I came back to the VR version and just seeing like getting that perspective on everything. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, like you said, like sometimes people come to the Discord and like, they said like it's too small. Like, do you ever get anything else, or like, do you ever get someone coming into the Discord and expressing their opinion on the game, and you go back in and try and change it? Like, do you ever do that, or you just kind of leave it how it is?
Yeah, yeah, of course. The feedback of the players are important. Having only my own experience would probably not, bring all these new optional settings that I add, for example. Sometimes when I released Railgunner, someone wasn't too happy with the zoom of the scope because
hmm
depending on the distance you put the scope, you have a different zoom level, but people are more comfortable with the scope further away or maybe closer. So just adjusting it for my own vision would not be enough. So that's why I gotta listen to people's feedback about this.
Yeah, for sure.
For
Um,
Railgunner, I actually just hip fire it because it's easier in my opinion. Just instead of looking through the scope.
Yeah, I've been doing this a lot too. It's a lot of fun. It's a new way to play Railgunner.
It is. It's really cool, and you can like you can also just like keep an eye behind you while you're shooting people, or not people, because there's no I don't think there's any people. That might be some weird technicality if you
Well, no
count
enemies.
mythics, maybe, but that's a tangent. But yeah, no, it's like, and that's another thing. Just in VR, you can be shooting, but you have like all this area so awareness, because a lot of the enemies in Risk of Rain are so big that you don't need to look at them while shooting them, so you can like
Yeah.
really keep an eye out, and it's kind of cool playing it like that.
In third person, it's a lot easier to see your surrounding. So
That's
even
true.
in first person, you can still look around, but it's a lot harder not seeing behind you.
you can play the game in third person, or no?
You can. I haven't really implemented motion controls for third person though,
Mm-hmm.
but it is still possible to play in third person.
Yeah, it remind me of like Trover Saves the Universe type of thing. That was the only
Uh,
VR game that I played that kind of pushes you to a third person. Even though you're being a Cheropian, you're actually playing a character in third person.
Yeah.
So with these mods, like it's only PC VR. Like, has any modder have ever tried to like try and put it on like side quest or change around anything to put it on an actual Quest headset?
um, there is a Doom mod that was made for Quest, and I think the first Half-Life 2 that are on
Uh,
Quest, which is very impressive, but some games you will just not be able to do that. For Risk of Rain, I don't think you'll be able to, because the build of the game was made for PC,
Mm-hmm.
and you would need the original project for it to work on Quest. Being like turning you to an APK or something. I would bet that maybe the Quest mods probably use the original source code to put it into Quest,
Mm-hmm.
but
mhm.
for game builds, you won't be able to put it into Quest.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering with like. So I know that there's a lot of PC VR versions for Resident Evil, but then yet they released Resident Evil. What was it, 2? Right?
I don't think so. Not on Quest, at least,
What's the
unless if
Resident
that's
Evil
what
they
you're
put
talking.
on Quest? I thought it was 2.
Resident Evil 4 is the
4.
one, and that's the official. That's not a mod.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but how's it not a mod though?
What do you mean?
It is the game. It's the same game. Like, if you look at it, there's a few things they changed from the original, but it's still the same mission, same everything. Like, how is that not considered a mod?
That's more of a port at that point because it's official.
What's the difference between
Yeah.
a mod and a port?
Well, with the port, they have access to, the whole source code, and they can actually build it with the intent for it to run on Quest.
Okay.
Where when you don't have the original project and original code, you can't really turn that build into a Quest build.
Okay.
I mean, that's not really possible. So yeah, it is an official port and a great port. I haven't tried it, but I've seen a bit of footage.
I
Yeah,
liked it. I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun.
it was really fun. I really liked it. I think that was my game of the year whenever it came out. It's probably last year.
I haven't beat it yet
Or
though.
did it? Yeah. Oh, dude, you gotta beat it.
I know. I'm at this area that I just can't pass, and it's annoying the hell out of me. So I just kind of said, nope. I'll come back to this when I'm bored one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I'm curious about too for you, Dr. Bebop, is what um what like VR games do you play, besides, like the Risk of Rain mod? Like what other stuff do you
Yeah.
play in
You
VR?
play any competitive, or you just single player?
I haven't played much competitive games. I've played Pavlov and Larson Arts a bit. But some of my favorite games are like, Walking Dead was awesome. I love the melee system.
Mm-hmm.
I like Until You Fall, which is another
Oh yeah.
roguelike like Risk of Rain. So I love roguelikes, so that's why I love this game.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I've played some other VR games. I would have to look in my library because I can't remember it on the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I finished Alex, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and I've tried some other indie VR games that are fun too, like I think Ancient Dungeon and Climby. Those are fun too.
Oh wait. What is Ancient Dungeon? I feel like I've heard of that.
It's like kind of a Minecraft style of
You can
graphics.
find it on
Oh,
SideQuest.
okay. Oh, okay.
It's an App Lab game. Came out like
Oh,
maybe a year or two ago, if that. Yeah, I think it's still in beta.
Oh, I didn't know
I
it's on
think
Quest.
Yeah, it's on Quest. You can get it on Quest. You can get it through SideQuest. I have it on mine.
Nice.
If it's the same thing that I'm thinking of.
I was thinking Battle Talent. That's what I was thinking of. That's a pretty good side quest game. But
Battle
yeah, so
Talent. But you said you played Larcenauts. Let's get your opinion on that.
I haven't played in a while, but class shooters are very fun. I've played Overwatch a lot before. So Lost Notes was a bit similar. So, having these abilities and these different kind of weapons that are fun to use in their own way, it's always fun with objectives and all of this. I can really see a competitive scene around that. Is there?
there
There
was
once
me and
was.
Geralt used to compete, but due to both internal drama
Unfortunate
and the
circumstances.
developers, it was, yeah, unfortunate circumstances. Like there
Allegedly.
wasn't a lot of meaningful updates to the game, and it had a very tedious grind, so we kind of steered away from it and
It is a
haven't
fun
really.
game though.
It was like, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. It's a fun game for a non-competitive player. I will put
Yeah.
that there. But once you start, but any player that picks up a game and starts getting good at it, if they like it or not, they become a competitive player. That's just how it's how video games work. And the thing is that I used to play that game religiously. I was like number 2 in the world with Klima, and the only reason why I wasn't number 1 is because the notoriety system. This person literally played, like, I don't know if he didn't have a job or what, but he played way longer than I did, and that's why he just stayed above me, because it wasn't based on kills. It wasn't based on how many games he won. It was just notoriety is how long you play the game. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Bugged the shit out of me. I'm like, give me my number 1 spot. Stop playing my character.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I haven't played it in, it's probably been a solid what 8 months now since I played that game.
It's been a while for you and me. I
Yeah, me
think I
too.
played last when they added the newest map, which was it looked pretty cool, and it was fun to play on, but there's too many frustrating mechanics in that game for me. Like being able to be invisible as a Vander and just set traps at people's feet for a free kill. Like there's a lot of stuff like that that kind of made it less enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any games that you're looking forward to, like that you know of, like new releases coming out, or any discords that you're in beta alpha with?
I haven't checked out that many uh, future VR games. What I am interested in though is some of future VR mods that I'm really interested in.
Hmm.
Someone is working on Left 4 Dead 2 right now, and
Oh yeah, I saw that.
there is a prototype out there. I tried it, but I'm having trouble making it work. So I hope that it gets better and it fixes the issues it has currently. Because Left 4 Dead 2 is probably one of the earliest favorite games I ever had. So I
Hmm.
have so many hours to that game. Playing it in VR would be so much fun.
Yeah, that would be pretty
And
cool.
what's it called again?
Left for
The
Dead 2.
Left 4 Dead 2, yeah,
Left 4
from
Dead
Valve.
2. Left 4 Dead 2. Why have I played that game before? Left 4
Yeah,
Dead 2.
you've probably played it. You know what After the Fall is?
Yeah,
It's what After the Fall is basically trying to be.
man, I
It's trying to.
feel like I've played this, but I don't play
It's made by
two.
Valve.
It's made by Valve. I know the name of it. Left 4 Dead 2. I
You'd know it if you've seen it.
probably,
It's a huge game.
but here I don't play too many scary games because I have I get bad nightmares, so they scare me. But Left 4
Yeah,
Dead 2, I feel like I have played that one.
yeah.
It is kind of old at this point. I think
I'm
I
gonna
think it
look it
got
up.
released at on 2009, I think, around
My
that time.
guess would be 2008. I'll double check. I'll look it up.
Left 4 Dead 2, man. I
But
feel
yeah,
like
have you seen that someone was making Metal Gear Solid and Boneworks in that server? That one looked really
Oh, I
cool.
know Left 4
I haven't
Dead.
seen that.
Yeah, this one I like. Yeah, Left 4 Dead was fun.
You're
Especially
right.
like with like teaming up with people. Are they gonna have that same type of thing where people gotta load in with the map and do like a four people against all the zombies?
I guess you would have to ask the Vama developer. Right now, I don't think they really tested the online side of things, but
I think
apparently single player works.
I think the online side of things had risks of being VAC banned. So I
Hmm.
think they advised you to mainly do it single player until they figure that out. But actually, I looked up the dates and Left 4 Dead came out 2008 and Left 4 Dead 2 came out 2009. So I was thinking the first game.
No,
Really, back to
But you were
back
right.
like that? They really made a game
Yeah,
that
I'm
quickly?
surprised they came out so close.
Because there's a third one, right? I thought there's like four. How
No,
many are there?
there's only
no.
two Left 4 Deads.
Well, there is a
There's a third one.
spiritual successor. There's Back
Right.
for Blood made by some of the original developers. It didn't do as well as Left 4 Dead though,
Yeah.
but it is very recent.
So it looks like they were making a Left 4 Dead 3 in 2020, but we all know how 2020 went, so doesn't look like that's happening anymore.
I had no idea.
But it says Back
I
for
don't know
Blood
either.
and Left 4 Dead 3 we've been waiting for. It says August 5th,
Oh,
2021.
that's probably what DrBiBop was talking about as Back for Blood is what they were referring to. Oh my gosh, I can't talk right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, get it out. Get it out. Spit it out. Yeah,
But
there's that one. Is there any like mod that you've played so far that you're just like, this is better than the actual flat top game?
I would say Outer Wilds, it's probably one of the top VR mods I've seen
mhm.
because not only does the VR work well, there's motion controls and all the tools you use in the game are around your waist. You can pick them up
Oh wow.
and use them all you want. And the base game is also amazing. I've completed it already, but yeah, the implementation was very well made. I think Valheim is another great example of a great VR mod with motion controls, and there's full IK too, which is a huge thing. I don't think I'll be able to do that in Risk of Rain just because there's so many characters with different proportions,
Hmm.
Oh, that's true.
not even humanoid too. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are awesome mods with with great modders too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I'm curious on what what's next for the Risk of Rain mod. I know you have a Trello board that shows like kind of what's coming up and what's what you're working on, but yeah, what what are you working on?
Right now, I'm working on a new custom skin system, which people will be able to
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
implement new skins. If modders want to port flat screen skins into VR skins too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after that, I would be interested to work with other Risk of Rain modders to maybe port some characters, custom
Mm-hmm.
characters into VR. I've started working on Enforcer with Timesweeper,
Oh
which
yeah.
and yeah, the character is very great, and I started working with him to put it into VR. We made the hand models, and right now we're working on making the directional shield work, and
Mm-hmm.
adding animations, all of this. So I think that would be probably the next step of the VR mod. After that, maybe I can move on to working on Raft or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
there's just not one of you. There's multiple people that will pick up a game and try and mod it.
Well,
For
in the
Risk
case
of
of the
Rain.
VR mod, I'm pretty much the only one working on it.
Yeah.
I get a tiny bit of help from other people sometimes, but for other Risk of Rain mods, there are huge groups working on one single character too. So,
Oh,
so sometimes I just come in, message them, do you want to port your character to VR? And if they're interested, I work with them.
Yeah, I think a really cool mod that worked like super well is the Samus mod got ported to VR. That is amazing. They have the
Yeah,
HUD and they have like the everything. That one was super cool.
yeah, and they did an amazing job. They like copied one to one the uh Metroid Prime HUD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they even had like the source code and all the original textures, I think. That's amazing to see. Like you really feel like you have the helmet on you
Yeah.
with the HUD.
Yeah, it's super cool. I was wondering also what's your favorite character to play in your mod, you know? What do you just like go like, "Oh, this is awesome," you know?
I would say Bandit and Loader probably, because
Bandit and
Bandit you
Loader.
have you have the two-handed rifle that you can use. Well, we're gonna two, but the first one I
Mhm.
did was Bandit. Loader just having your grapple hook swinging around, punching in the air, having all that momentum. When you don't have motion sickness, it's very awesome.
Mhm.
But also Commando, surprisingly, because when you play Commando flat screen, you will probably feel like it's probably one of the most boring characters to play. Very like generic
Yeah.
auto pistols, but in VR you can shoot in different directions. So it adds a new way to play that is very fun. So
Mhm.
Commando has been one of my surprising favorites in VR.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm a Commando main. I like Commando and Void Fiend,
I see.
but
He's going commando right now, so that makes sense.
I I guess
Sorry for
so.
slandering your main like that.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, no, he's really the Commando. I used to hate it first, you know. I was like, oh, this character's boring. Like I felt like you know, he's not very exciting, very vanilla. But once you get those like procs going, which for people who don't know what procs are, they're basically they're kind of like activations, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you have a better explanation for procs than I do, Bebop. But
All approaches, it's like every hit you have a chance to maybe crit or send a missile or do some other funky shit with your items. And
Mhm.
when you have a ton of attack speed and you see all these explosions, it does activate your monkey brain.
Definitely.
Monkey brain. It's playing around.
hmm
So
Neuron
like,
activation.
yeah. So like with these mods, right, and especially like Risk of Rain 2. You said you bringing in like skins and stuff like that. So two things, like, do you one, are you able to bring in like actual like playable like tasks to people who actually can be on like a leaderboard, built in the game? And then also, are you allowed to build in like microtransactions for like a battle pass for like people to play? Like how is that part of like earning within the game, or you have to kind of let that go?
Well, that would probably be a separate mod if I were to do that. But also there is kind of this morality that comes with it, and maybe even some legality, because you're kind of profiting off of another game,
Mm-hmm.
which it is like in the gray area of legality. So I'm not sure if someone would ever do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if the developers want to do it, then all up to them.
Yeah, and so you can
Yeah.
actually ask them if they'd be interested in that, like maybe,
Uh,
or like, or it's like if they do it, are you allowed to bunny hop off of their thing that they brought into it?
I wouldn't really know,
Yeah,
I
but
think
I guess
there's
Patreon is fine for income of my mod.
yeah, I think
that's
there's
what I was
no
gonna get
way.
to. You
It's
have a
just too
Patreon,
much.
right? And I have it in the link in description. So people, if they appreciate your work, they can go. Like I said, it's in the link in the description. That is it monthly. That they get like special updates. How does your Patreon work?
Basically, when I'm working on major updates, I always release it maybe a week early on Patreon, and once I get enough testing and I, you know, polish the update, and when it's ready, I release it to the public. So if you're a subscriber to my Patreon, you gain access to early builds.
Cool.
Hmm. And one thing I want to say about like you would not want to add a battle pass into someone else's game. That is such a legal bad area. You don't even want to touch
Well, yeah,
anything
like I
like
didn't,
that.
I didn't know. I didn't know how far you
Yeah,
could take things when it comes to, modding a game. If you're allowed to, have a back end thing, like, like what's stopping him from building a battle pass like through his Patreon, where it's like it's not a battle pass, but it's like a tier level. Like they can buy certain skins to then put it into the game through a mod, instead of just giving it to them.
I mean, there's some people who do like paywalled stuff like that.
Yeah, because I
Uh,
guarantee, like, all those mods for, like, uh, Grand Theft Auto and all that stuff, like, people buy those or they rip them. Most people probably buy them, but they take it and then they can put it on their own PC or even their console, to have special mods.
I mean, I guess it is possible, but if you wanted to sell skins while all other skin mods in the game are free, you will probably get some sort of backlash from doing this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't think that would be the sort of thing that people would do, but it is possible, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you think you'd get probably more slack from probably the community that's trying to like protect things than
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But we can, if you want to, we have like we said before, we have a fun segment called "What Grinds Your Gears," um, and so basically, just it could have happened this week, could have happened today, but basically, you just say like this mod is literally grinding my gears. Well, whatever you want to basically say. I went last week, Pickle. So I think it's your turn
Hmm.
to go first
It's my
this
turn to
week.
go first. I can't shove it off on you again.
No, no, you can't shove it off on me.
What grinds Geralt's gears is that I keep shoving it off on making him do it first. Oh, let's see. Oh man, I should have been thinking of something. I didn't realize you were gonna do it right now. Oh
All
man.
right, well, I'll let
Yeah,
you
to be
think.
honest, me too.
Well, you guys think of this because we're gonna get to it after this question. We actually have a question that came in.
Oh, okay.
So there's someone in the chat. He says, "What do you think of the Doctor Beef crew and their work? I'm checking out ROR2 and the mod now."
Um, if I remember correctly, does Dr. Beef do the Doom mod for Quest?
Yeah,
Or
he does.
the help
He
mod?
Yeah.
does the Doom, the Quake, and the Doom engine stuff. He does all that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I haven't tried them because I don't own a Quest, but I think that's the first time there ever was a VR mod for Quest. So it's a huge um I don't know how do I say
Like
a
leap or
huge feature.
innovation.
Yeah, it's a huge innovation, I'd say, to have a VR mod for Quest. So that I guess that's great for Quest user. I'm not, but it's amazing work nonetheless.
Hmm.
I think Dr. Beef is a great mother.
Yeah, and everything he does is through side quest, right?
I think
Yeah, I
so.
think so.
Yeah, because I think that's where you can get Doom at is through side quests. Because are you even able to even try and push a mod like the ones that Doctor Beef is doing to show up on App Labs, or do you think
No.
Oculus will be like, no, we're not even gonna get into legality of that?
Yeah, you would have to get like a license or permission
Yeah,
from the Doom developers for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to play it. Is it like just like the game? Does anyone know?
Yeah, no, it's pretty much just the game, It's not they don't really change a whole lot. It has motion controls and you're in the world, but other than that, it's Doom.
It's Doom. You're
It's
just going down a hallway waiting for shit to pop up in front of you.
hmm Yeah, it's really cool. I've played more of the Quake ones than the Doom ones, but I enjoy them.
I've heard a lot of great things about it.
Yeah.
So, but Quake though is I thought Quake was like you're pulled outside of your body though.
No. No, Quake's a first person game.
Is
Yeah,
it? I just know
It
Quake.
always has been,
I've
yeah.
never played Quake, but I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast, and apparently he was like majorly addicted to Quake. And so that's the only reason why I even know what that is.
Hmm.
Doctor Beef. I like that name. You got Doctor Bebop and Doctor Beef. What's up with all
All
these
the all the
doctors?
yeah,
doctors,
a
yeah,
lot of
what's
doctors.
Yeah, you guys decided like, hey, I'm a doctor of modding. Yeah, where did the name come from? I would like to know that. Like, what made Doctor Bebop Doctor Bebop?
That's a good question. I'd say bebop comes from the jazz style bebop, but with an E instead of an I.
Mm-hmm.
oh
So
yeah.
I like music. I've done a bit of music myself, and the doctor was just added in because it sounded cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really a doctor.
You got the rule of cool.
Doctor Bebop. That's why when I was waiting for you to say like when we were like, what's your favorite game you're playing? I all of a sudden I was just picturing in my head. I was like, please say you're a master at Beat Saber. Please say you're a master at Beat Saber.
I do like Beat Saber. I've done a couple of levels too.
Have you?
Oh, you made levels for Beat Saber?
Yeah, a couple.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. There's a
It,
person
it,
that I
it is
met.
fun.
Yeah, I found a person that apparently I don't know this person. I can't remember if they're from they're just from the Asian continent. That's all I'm gonna say because I'm not gonna get wrong where they're at. But they import their own music and then I guess they can mod it to where they just put the blocks there and it works. And I guess you can have like just load in thousands of songs and have the blocks there.
Yeah, there is
Wait,
a huge library online of custom songs that you can
Hmm.
play.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I thought you were talking about there's someone who made this like I forgot what it's called. It's Beat something, but it's this thing that can auto generate Beat Saber maps. It's using AI. It's not perfect, but it's pretty cool if if certain songs are. I thought that's what you were gonna talk about. But
I can't get past the easy level if it makes anyone feel better.
you can't get past easy. Oh
That's where
man.
what I mean is that I can do an easy level, but anything higher than that, I get kind of I don't know what it is. I don't know.
You just haven't played enough.
Probably not. And nor do I feel like to sit there and play Beat Saber hours on end.
Hmm.
That I'll leave that to the people. There are some pretty cool people that do it. That have like their full room is in green screen, and they're just like floating and they're just beating away. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I can watch that. I can dig that. The funniest one I've seen so far with the green screen is there's a person that was playing Gorilla Tag, and it cuts off half their body, and they're like running around as a real person. I'm like, okay, this is pretty funny.
Yeah, I've seen it pass on Twitter.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's almost like Skiva, and then what the other guy's name I can never remember. They do a podcast, and they did some type of thing for Population One where they loaded into Population One as themselves, and that was pretty cool. That they have a full video out there. That's pretty cool.
I wonder how that worked. Was
So,
it like live?
it is the two people from their podcast that the main the co-host and the
Oh,
host. But this person said, Is there a thing called Feet Saber?
yeah,
Feet
Feet
Saber
Saber.
mod looks amazing. I've been wanting to try it, but I keep forgetting to buy. Wait, you have to play
Yeah.
this with your feet.
Oh yeah, I've seen this. I think you need like trackers for this.
No, well, actually, I've seen it too, and you just actually, like they said, you just strap your controllers to your feet through,
Oh, I
through
guess that works
whatever
too.
means.
Okay, so all right, hold up.
And then
Okay,
you just play the game like that, and
hold
you
up,
like
hold
tap
up,
dance basically.
hold up. This is sparking my interest now. So you're telling me we have all these people that play, they stream on Twitch and they play this game. And there's people in this world that are selling feet pictures for $500 a pop. You're telling me no one's played Feet Saber and tried to sell videos of their feet flicking around playing music?
I have no
I
clue.
don't know. I'm
Why
not
is no
into
one
that.
doing this?
I
You
mean,
should do
maybe
it.
there is.
I don't
I'm-
know. I don't got good looking feet. They're feet. It's got to be coming from someone else, not my feet.
Mhm.
That just cracks me up. I don't know. I've been hearing so many crazy stuff about people like bottling farts and stuff. Like, we're on to something. They could play Feet Saber, sell the video on a Patreon while tooting and selling their farts. It's a double whammy, and they could sell their sweat. Like, we're selling stuff here. We're making history here.
That's how you make the big bucks is Feet Saber.
Yes, Feet Saber. I think you should try it out. I can't. It's Sputnik Cobra. Definitely go out there and make some money off your feet.
Yeah. But
It grinds my gears. You guys had plenty of
grinds.
time. Plenty of time. I'll go
Plenty of
first.
time.
I'll go
Oh,
first.
you got
I'll
something?
go first again since pickle ostriches can't figure anything out. All right, so what grinds my gears is that I am currently putting together a new piece of equipment for my gym, and their instructions suck. And they don't they put all the bolts in one bag, and I had to go through them and separate everything on my own instead of putting things all in nice little packages. No. I had to go like this, sorting them out, and then the diagram pretty much puts the whole thing together and just says, "Here's your bolts. Go ahead and put it together."
Mhm.
So that's what I get to go back to after this podcast is build that. So that's what grinds my gears, and I'm surprised I've only put thing on once. So we're on a roll.
Yeah. I'd say I'm not gonna say who, but there's a certain person who's been grinding my gears recently, and some people just don't like leave things alone. And like they'll make a issue out of something that happened like months ago. So that's what's been grinding my gears, is just people who make big issues out of small things recently.
Yeah, that can happen. You got anything, Bebop? You don't have to say anything that grinds your gears. We can roll on.
Well, I guess I could say something. I mean, it no longer grinds my gears because I fixed it, but it did grind my gears for a while. Um, I'd say after 1 year of buying my VR, my controller started drifting.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of
Yeah.
trouble with just going forward would like pass the joystick around. So I asked for support to help me with this. They would just do the typical thing of sending articles, but then eventually they decided to RMA my controllers, so I got new ones,
That's
and they're
good.
working well. But then another year later, they started drifting too.
Man, that's how controllers are,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, they drifted again. There was already some physical damage on it after using it, so I couldn't really RMA them.
Yeah.
And they were getting worse and worse until a point like they were just unusable, and
Mm-hmm.
that like put me off of playing VR and modding
Yeah.
all of that. So I was just angry that there wasn't any solution for that. There was just you know either RMA or just screw yourselves or something like that. So I got so angry that like after that I just found out that you can just buy some contact cleaner and
Yep.
spray around it and
I
it's fine. But like why didn't they tell me this before asking me to send their controller for
Because
new
they want you
ones?
to spend money. They're not going to tell you shit.
Well, they didn't charge me for the new controllers at least, so that's good. But
yeah.
just I was like not able to play VR for a while just because of that drift, and all I had to do was this. So I'm happy that they're fixed now, but yeah, that took a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the stuff I have is pretty nice. Like it smells like shit though, but it like as soon as you spray it in there, you roll it around and it's dry. Um, but I bought like two other ones just in case it just never gets fixed. But they're just like the controllers. It just sucks because they're so expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like for instance, right, which is just funny. So for instance, like a Quest 2 is $300. And I know if you go on to Quest, the store, and buy a new controller, replacement controller, I believe they're $70. So
Yeah,
so you're
something like
telling me that the headset without the controllers is no more than like a couple hundred, over $100. That's what blows my mind. That you would think that those controllers compared to the headset should be priced at like $40.
It is
yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
weird, but
$70
I've heard they were.
for Quest 2 replacement, $69.
Yeah, that's a big portion of the full price. But
But
I've
it's
heard they're selling the headset at a loss, so maybe that's because of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
like
true.
they don't sell them as a set. Like why don't they sell the left and the right? I don't know if it's the same for your headset. Do they you have to buy one separate at a time?
Well, they did send me new controllers like in a separate box, so maybe then they were individual
Yeah,
or
so
something.
if you
Mhm.
go out to the store, it's literally the left controller or by the right controller, both priced at $70. Instead of saying, "Hey, here's a bundle, buy them both for $100." Like they're losing $40, but that $40 is probably the price of not paying for another box and the double shipping.
Yeah.
Mind blown. It's the same shit with Facebook charging. What was the percentage that they're stealing from these people for
50% off
50?
of.
Have you heard about this, Dr. Bebop?
No?
So if you make a game and
I think it's in Horizon World specifically.
is it
I'll throw that out there.
is it
Yeah.
just Horizon World specifically?
So Horizon Worlds, they take a 20% cut of whatever you make. But for anything, Oculus likes to take a 30% cut, I believe was what it was. So combined, they take 50% of all that you would all the
Profit
money
off
you would make. Yeah.
the
To be
tax.
It,
honest, I'm not very surprised with how Meta
yeah.
is working right now with their whole metaverse project. And they're
hmm
basically trying to do what VR chat has already done and already done well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
No.
that that blows my mind that Facebook goes, "We have an idea. You know that game like Rec Room?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're just like, "Okay, you know that game like VR chat?" And they're like, "Yeah." Let's combine those two and still make it shittier than VR chat. I think we can sell that. Because I don't think
Yeah.
anything's beating out VR chat anytime soon.
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe from an actual making money perspective, Rec Room has probably beat it, but
Well,
you know,
Rec Room also is Pancake as well. They're just not
yeah.
VR. I mean,
And
that's
yeah.
why they're making more money. But I'm talking about the dark side of VR. I
The
think
the cursed adult side of
the
VR.
cursed adult side. I'm surprised there's not like some black market selling going on back there.
Yeah.
Is there? Is there?
Oh, on VR chat?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there is. I'm sure you could like black market for that game is probably just buying a bunch of ripped assets from other people's work is probably what the black market would be.
Buying a whole bunch.
There's I've seen servers that have like ripped people's assets and I didn't know any better back then. You know that it was like that they were stealing people's stuff and posting it on there because they lie about it. They say it's theirs, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's really sketchy.
a lot of hack clients taking avatars on people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And like, you can like just straight up rip them and get the source files or something. But yeah.
I was reading a question, but we've been doing this for about roughly an hour now, and this is live. So even though that we did this live, I will push this more, trying to get people to watch it tomorrow
Tomorrow.
as well, since that's usually when our scheduled time is. But is there anything you want to like kind of tell our audience before we kind of wrap this up? Like I said, most all your links that you posted to me in Discord are in the description. But if there's anything else that you have exciting you want to tell about, this is your time to say whatever you want.
I guess I'll just say join the Flat Screen to VR Discord. There's a lot of other mods you can try. A lot of mods that are incoming that you can try. Maybe Left 4 Dead 2 or Half-Life 2, or if you want, you can try my Risk of Rain 2 mod. And if you feel like it, if you like my work, you can donate to Patreon, have access to early builds if I do updates. So if you're interested, just check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
You got any final remarks over there, Mr. Pickle Ostrich Naked Avatar?
I just want to say thank you for making a very fun mod. I love playing the mod. It's super cool. I'll play it with like my girlfriend every once in a while, and we'll just mess around. It's really cool, and I definitely appreciate the work you've done. And I will say for everyone watching, play the mod, support the Patreon. Do it right now. Do it
For
right
sure.
now. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at all of you. Support Dr.
Oh,
Bebop on
geez, your
Patreon.
avatar is really getting there deep. I've never seen your avatar reach that far on the screen. It's like you get extra willpower being into in the VR world. But yeah, so Dr. Bebop, thanks again for being on the show, and hopefully down the road, next time you mod a new game, maybe we can have you on here again, or hopefully down the future, you might be on here talking about developing your own game, which I'd be pretty excited to also see as well. So best of luck on everything, and like if you have any interest in this fellow right here, which you should, because what he does is very cool, just to play games that are on a crappy flat screen. Play it in VR. That's the way it should be. That's the future. I'll go to the description. All links there. So everyone, have a great rest of your week. We'll see you there. Dr. Bebop, thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah,
It's lots of fun.